Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to an all new episode of Weirdos at Home. You know me, I'm Sam Slade, international, maybe even universal TikTok star at this point. It's really hard to say. I can't believe what we're doing on this show today. It's been far too long. Kids, if you're a new viewer of the show, boy, you have some history lessons to make up for. Ladies and gentlemen, the grand dam of Weirdos at Home, the Carol Danvers of Weirdos at Home, the one who helped me start all of this in the middle of a global pandemic, my favorite person, Tara Brown.
Hey everybody, I'm back.
I can't even believe it.
Has Sam been behaving since I've been away?
You guys don't have to answer that.
It's fine. I'll find the recordings
They're
and the
all on YouTube,
transcripts.
but I know
It's
you're not
all
going
on
to go back and
YouTube.
watch them.
It's good to be back. As you can see, I'm not with you, but we are together
We're still
still.
50% of the weirdos are still at home.
Yeah, I am weirdos at work right now, but I'm on my lunch break, so it's all above board. But yeah, we just have a busy week, but we have so much to talk about that I was like, we need to fit a podcast in somewhere, sometime. So I'm glad we're doing it. But we
Yeah,
do have
we've been doing home improvement around the house, like Tim and Joel Taylor. We've got a lot more to go. So I was very stoked to see the big ass today. If I would have this podcast with you,
today was going to be the only day. So how lucky are you?
the luckiest boy in the
Um,
world.
but we do. I mean, we've been busy, but we've also been watching some pretty fun, interesting stuff. And I think we're gonna get into it. I'd love to talk about it.
Let's get into it. Let's start with film. We'll go to television.
Yeah, so we saw a movie this past week on Friday, Veterans Day, Observance Day. Um, and I loved it, you loved it, but everyone else hates it. So let's talk about it.
The name of the film was The Marvels, from a little
Yes.
a little indie film company, little operation out of Palo Alto called Marvel. And I don't know what people's fucking problem is, to be honest. So, if you want to say
Well,
what the deal is
we,
with the movie for the non-nerds,
yeah, so I can't even get into the lore of the Marvel, but everyone on Earth knows that superhero movies exist, and Marvel produces damn near 50%, if not more, of them. Your Iron Mans, your Thors, your Black Widows, your Black Panthers,
Captain America.
Captain America. You look great, by the way. You don't even need to worry with
I
that.
was just kind of, you never
Um,
watches these things.
so every year they release what, like two, three big films, and then they've been getting into television shows within the past couple of years, and those come out. And we were always led to believe it was like this grand plan of you got to watch everything. You got to watch everything, and it connects. The characters connect. We dig deep back into the old comic book lore from the 60s and 70s where we're digging up those old stories.
I mean,
So
Was there even a one of the series that we didn't like? I know Secret Invasion was really slow and really hard to
we
get
didn't
through, but
get into Moon Knight.
oh,
We
that's right.
couldn't get into Werewolf by Night, which I don't really know if it's
It was,
a
well, one episode.
television
It was just a
show.
Halloween movie. It
We watched all of Secret Invasion, but it was kind of meh.
was a chore.
Yeah. So
But in their defense, we got Miss Marvel,
mhm.
who's I mean, if you're not paying attention, it's everyone's favorite new superhero. If
Yeah.
you're at all paying, we got She-Hulk, which I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. You loved. I mean, Daredevil shows up. They end up going home. Tara's like, "Don't anybody come in here ever again." Uh, we got Sam and Bucky doing like bro comedy stuff. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
Sam
It
got
was
Bucky into therapy.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier. No, what was it?
Yeah, it was well, what they call it? They called it
Falcon and the
and then
Winter
and then that big
Soldier.
turn is he's
Yeah. So what Sam's trying to explain is that the shows vary in tone, and each one follows kind of, it digs deeper into kind of the secondary and third dairy characters. Is third dairy even a
third
word?
dairy. Yeah, third W.
Into the characters from the bigger movies. So we all knew Iron Man, we all knew Captain America. They had whole movies explaining their character development. But then when you would do these big collaboration movies like Civil War and the Infinity Saga. You have all these characters coming in that are new that we don't really know that well. So the shows were designed to kind of like give us that backstory or origin story or more information. And so this movie, The Marvels, that we went and saw, 2 out of the 3 main characters you wouldn't know unless you watched the television shows.
Right. Wow. I didn't.
So one of them, the only non-television character would be Captain Marvel, the main HBIC, I guess you could say. She appeared in her own movie, which I remember people not liking, but you told me last night that it made $1 billion.
It's one of the all-time highest grossing Marvel movies. Yeah.
Captain Marvel, the
Yeah.
original.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Now here's the people's theory on that. So glad you asked. Is that it was the only Marvel movie between I know you hate it when I do that. I'm sorry. It's the only Marvel movie between Infinity War and Endgame. So I think everybody thought if we don't see this one, like we are fucked when we go to see Endgame. And it really you didn't need to.
And you weren't at all. It did connect, but not in a way big enough that you couldn't explain it to your date or your grandpa or your mom that was trying to watch it at Thanksgiving.
This one was tough to explain to mom. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not even gonna go there. And my mom's visiting us this weekend. So if you try to sit down and explain this to her,
no, I won't.
I'm just gonna walk out the room. But then so you have your main character, Captain Marvel. Then your other 2 supporting characters, like I said, were from the television show. One of them is Monica Rambeau. And so we know her from WandaVision, correct?
And as a little baby Rambo and
Captain Marvel. So she's a character that knew Captain Marvel back in the 90s when she was a child. She grew up with a single mom who was an Air Force pilot, right?
Who was Carol's partner.
As you're seeing, guys, it all connects. It all connects. Now she's grown. She's working for Nick Fury. And she was a part of the blip, right? She got blipped.
She did get blipped, yeah.
And then when she came back due to Endgame, her mom had passed while she was gone, correct?
And boy, how dark is that story that you get when you get blipped back? You didn't get blipped back at like Disneyland or like your childhood home. You got blipped back to your mother's hospital bed.
Well, everyone got blipped back to right where they were when they.
Right. No, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, fuck.
So, I mean, it's wild. And we don't need to get back into
please,
that.
our third. Well, that's the first one you announced. Now, this is the one I'm really excited about.
And then our third main character is Miss Marvel, and her real name, alter ego, is Kamala Khan, and she had her own television show.
Disney and she's the most charming little thing that's come along in superhero movies since Chris O'Donnell played 38-year-old Robin.
And if you ask me, if you aren't familiar with anything that I've been discussing or that Sam's been talking about, and you only have time for one thing to prepare you to even think about seeing Captain Marvel, or no, The Marvels, is watch Miss Marvel. That's the one. I think you're going to get the most enjoyment out of that. And
do you think, would you say really, even like a John Hughes kind of vibe to it?
Yeah, it's like she's a teenager, she's in high school, she's
not a cool kid, like
not a cool kid, but her family is also hilarious. And they actually have a pretty decent part in this movie that we went and saw in the Marvels. So she's kind of your Peter Parker, your Spider-Man,
your fish out of water,
learning the ropes kind of situation. So anyway, they all get thrown into kind of a team situation that they weren't prepared for. There's a little bit of powers. Each of them have different light-based powers that they all.
I think it's worth pointing out before we just run people down with the plot. I think it's worth pointing out that Kamala is the biggest fangirl of of Captain Marvel in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you get this like meeting your hero,
waking up and being able to be on a team with like your hero, and that happens for her like very quickly in the movie.
It's fun, man.
So no spoilers, but like they get pulled together and have to be a team reluctantly. At least some of them are reluctant. Miss Marvel is like all about it. Here we go. I'll quit school right now and do this.
Right. It's like I'll sell my parents to the Kree.
Yeah. Nick Fury is kind of their wrangler, but
Nick
he's
Fury's
also,
having more fun than anybody's ever had in Marvel.
yeah, compared to that Secret Invasion show that they made him do, the tone was so dark and it was so like heavy.
Look, I'll
So
be
to
honest,
see
if I
him the
just
very
now
next
found
time
out,
we see his character, he's in this movie and he's very light and funny and just, I'm glad they
you
let
know what
him
nobody
kind of
said yet? You know what it felt
swing
like?
the pendulum back the other way.
It felt like hanging with Mr. Cooper, but with Nick Fury.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was that. Remember, there was all that he had his sister and his girlfriend lives there, and like the women were around, and then like the kids.
Kind of. I didn't really watch that show very much.
All right, no love for Mark Curry. Okay,
I'm sure people out there understand what you're talking about, but I'm just
I
gonna
know my
agree,
audience
nod
does.
my head.
Bing.
Um, so they basically band together to fight a villain that we've never heard of, that they had to explain to us real quick, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of like effect for the greater story of the Marvel universe.
All
But
right.
she's a decent villain. Like, we discussed it and said that, we could see empathy there of why
Yeah, they did a
she's
great
so
job
hell bent
of
on
why she's an evil
doing these
asshole.
bad things. Yeah.
And you know,
Um,
we forget how many throwaway Marvel villains there were before Thanos. We think it's all just Thanos or it's, Jake Gyllenhaal's pretty face or whatever. But we went through a lot of throwaway assholes. I mean, remember Tony Stark built this in a cave. Obadiah Stane, right? That was one and done.
yeah.
Fucking Mickey Rourke on I am Rashian. You're like, no, you're not. Get the fuck out of here.
Mordo.
Who?
Baron Mordo, or
Oh,
whatever
but
his name was.
he was so desperate to stay, he's now friends with him. He like goes clubbing with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That's different guy. That's a different guy.
Oh, that's
But
Baron Zemo.
there you go.
Damn it! All right, let's get into I want to get into the real conversation about this movie, the controversy, because we had a conversation last night, and I think that
Yeah.
led you to message me this morning.
And before we go to the dark side on that, just know I loved it. It was fun.
It was the most fun Marvel movie I've seen. I don't know
And
what.
that's coming from a white man. Like, really listen to these words.
There was nothing. There's nothing not to like about it. Great
They
soundtrack.
usually don't say things like this.
So
So
funny
this is a
scenes.
big deal.
So the great humor, great family dynamic. I mean, there are moments that move you to tears as far as the dynamic between Carol and Monica, but like the aunt and niece thing going on, and the mom's passed away, and then Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan is going through the biggest example ever of a cross between don't meet your heroes and be careful for what you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here you go. You always wanted to be the guy. Like, here it is. What you gonna do? And you get that great moment where she does stand up and like, I don't want to spoil stuff, but man, it's so much fucking fun. Okay.
And from a women's perspective, like, it's always good to see ladies up there kicking ass.
And they kick a lot.
No heroic male character besides Nick Fury, but like we said, he was kind of just there for comedic relief.
He's kind of just dad,
Yeah, none of like the male superheroes had to come help out or save the day.
Nick Fury was basically
strong
Danny
female
Tanner
character
in this movie.
I don't know if you could hear me. Sam was talking over me. It's clear that he's not used to me being back.
All I was saying was you made a great point that Nick Cage came off like Danny Tanner.
I didn't make that point. I think you made that point.
I think you said that right after the person accused you of starting a fire in the movie theater.
But I think Sam's correct. Like, it touches on tones of like family. But what I took away mostly from it is like women today, especially professional women, and even I shouldn't even say that, not especially professional women and women that work at home, women that are just
what about the super moms out there?
Housewives, the super moms. Like, so many times you don't ask for help and you don't seek out assistance in any way because either you don't want to burden anybody else, or you feel like you can do it correctly and you don't want anyone else to mess it up, or you just have a problem asking for help. Like, that was a big theme through this, of like, all these three characters are usually so independent, work alone, are really working through some trauma from past
I mean,
experiences.
you got Endgame, the blip. I mean, they're each going
Mhm.
through their own.
Yeah. And for them to get to a point where they can understand that like asking for help isn't a weakness, it's a
Well, how about
strength.
and depending on family too, sometimes, right? Like
Yeah.
leaning on family. I mean, I think
Yeah.
and to your point, you get Carol, I think, literally saying at one point, "I don't need any help, Fury."
Yeah. And you know, throughout the film, you see them just kick ass. Like the fight choreo is so cool
The
because like
scene where they're
there's a
switching,
little
where they're
key
what do you call it? Where they're switching places.
montage.
Oh yeah, it's a
Oh,
great fight montage, but it's going in real time where they're switching places due to their powers.
yeah. So like the little MacGuffin key in the movie is that something has happened and they're able to switch powers and they can't control it at first, but then they learn how to and to use it to their advantage and it ends up looking so cool.
Oh, it's as booky
The
as it gets.
scenes, the filming scenes and days on those sets must have been very intricate and long, but well worth it. But anyway, go see it. Don't listen to what's going on in the hype of
That's what I want to get
media right
into.
now. I think
And
that's what we're
also,
about to get into. But yeah,
I think
I just
Coco may get a Golden Globe nomination
for what?
for his role in the Marvels.
Well, explain what you mean.
Well, everybody knows that Captain Marvel had a cat, a little orange cat in the first one. I haven't talked about this at all this year because of NDAs and stuff, and the movie hadn't come out. But that other cat had passed away. It got hit by a mail truck. So Coco
Good
actually went
God.
off. Huh?
I said, good God.
Well, I'm just telling you, Coco went off and spent 6 months in Atlanta at the Marvel Studio and shot all those scenes. And I thought he really crushed it.
That's awesome. I'm really rooting for him.
That's all true. So
Don't check on that. Don't fact check. That's all true.
stay off IMDb.
So I think what Sam was going to get into was the reaction from this movie. So the movie hasn't even been out a week yet,
Yeah.
and it was delayed and pushed back and moved, and everyone, well, not everyone, a very specific segment of the population has a lot to say about it, and
Do
it's
they
just
look
really
like
frustrating
me?
and blowing my mind. They all look like you for the most part, from what I've heard.
Oh,
But explain that. What's going on?
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of white male movie critics in pop culture. Boy, just poisoning YouTube, in my opinion, with every little reason to bitch, to complain, to undercut it, to insult it, to judge it, that they can scrape the fucking bottle of the Keef jar to fucking come up with. I mean, I think the most recent one we heard last night was Disney lied to us with pathetic liar marketing. What? Like they set us up, but it doesn't matter. You know, I could give a speech on why half of white men are wrong. Donald Trump is a great example in his following, but I want to hear it from a woman and not the empowerment side. I want to hear, you told me very early on when we met, you'd rather be empire than rebellion. So please.
I
can't make the point the way you can make the point.
Well, I'm ready to get into it. I'm disgusted by most of what I see in response to this movie, and I'm not like seeking it out. I am
At all.
on my social media, my personal social media, or I am scrolling through YouTube looking for something to watch, or even news alerts. I've had like my phone vibrate or go off, and I look, and it's just a news article about the poor opening box office numbers and what's wrong with Marvel, like what's gonna happen with Marvel, as if this little movie would tank a billion-over-billion-dollar corporation whose business it is to stay in business regardless of
by the
what
way,
they're producing.
Who's
They're not going anywhere. And I made the point last night with all the all the men that are complaining. I need to stop being so diplomatic. It's men. I don't want to say it's all white men, because it's not.
It's
It's
not.
it's majority is the male population is just like having this like visceral reaction
And it's
towards
a certain
women.
age range too, though.
And
It's not
yeah,
young
the
guys
age range
talking
I'm
this shit.
seeing is men who have no business commenting on a movie that, let's face it, is created for a younger generation. And when you have three female leads, it's obvious going to resonate with a female audience. It's not for you. And I think
This
that's the problem that we always run into when men like to talk about what should and shouldn't be happening, or what's good and bad. Most of it, it's not for you. Like, it's not like we invite you to participate, but really, we don't really care what your opinion is about it because it's not for you.
how the
Don't review tampons and tell me which tampons are the best.
so I was over here thinking if when
Because it's not
13
for you.
when 13 going on 30 came out, if I had just thrown a fucking fit, it'd be like,
Yeah.
no, teenage boys don't do that.
Guess what, guys? A majority of like media that's directed towards women, like, we don't care if it's like objectively good or not. Do we enjoy it in the moment? Is it sometimes, more often than not, an escape from the everyday life that a woman has to face? Like, we watch 50 Shades of Grey to escape. We watch Bravo reality TV to escape for a second and just push pause and think about a world that we're probably never going to exist in, but let's enjoy what we can just. Isn't it entertainment? Isn't that what this is all supposed to be about?
I want to
So
point out
when
a
I
couple things. We only
hear,
have an hour, and I want to point out a couple things. I don't mean to Joe Scarborough you, but I have to, babe. I completely agree with all that. It's not for men, and oh, how the tables have turned, right? Because how many years of superhero movies have wives, daughters, sisters, girlfriends
yeah,
have had
no
to
one
go
was
like,
beating down my door asking how I felt about Batman versus Superman.
well, I'm sorry,
Because
no,
I have notes. I mean, we can go back and
but at least Wonder Woman
review
showed up in
that.
that. Wonder Woman at least made her premiere in that. I mean, I agree. I mean, there was 20 years, 30 years worth of superhero movies where it was, the women you had were fucking Vicky Vale falling down drunk,
Damsels.
damsels, and then
Damsels in distress,
you had like,
needing to be rescued, or and I think it's that show Entourage, if y'all remember it. There was a joke
oh
about
yeah,
women in Hollywood. There are two roles for you. It's either you're the object of desire party girl, or then you are the, secretary or the mom or the
I believe
librarian.
the line. I believe the line delivered by Johnny Drama was, bro, that's the thing in Hollywood. Women only have two roles: nagger in chief and Saka fuck me. What do you
Yeah.
do?
So for so long, that's who.
So
And I mean, that dips into deeper things on like culture and gender norms that we could, I mean,
I hate that these white dudes are acting, or any of these dudes, Tara, are acting like we should feel bad for them that they're missing out on a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Like that they've been cheated out, where now there's little girls who now they don't have to be like, I guess I like Catwoman. I'm not really a dominatrix type, but I guess that's my choice. And now you get like three very different characters to choose from, and they're all badass in their own way.
And guess what? As far as what we've seen with the way that Marvel is heading, like, you're gonna get a lot more.
Oh, this isn't gonna stop. I mean, the movie ends with where they go and recruit another young lady superhero. And so guys, just get the fuck over it, all right?
We were discussing it last night too, and bottom line, end of the day, everyone that worked on this film has already been paid.
And they're probably already signed on for the next one.
They're not losing out on anything because it's.
Why didn't anybody complain when Wanda fucking destroyed the universe? How come nobody threw a fit?
Because I guess you had enough male energy around her that it distracted them from going women.
Eunuch's vision is such a macho, sexy dude with his
no women dumb bad. You made a great point last night too, that we were having the discussion. We were talking about everybody was already getting paid, and then you brought up, I forget what you said, but it was something that I wanted to touch on.
I love a great point that isn't remembered clearly.
Maybe it'll pop back into my head. But
First
end
of
of
all,
the
as far
day,
as the box office shit goes, and if you're going to attack it on that,
that's what it was. I think you're about to get to it, was how are we valuing box office numbers now versus pre-pandemic?
well,
What's
let's
the difference
that. But
there?
I also want to give credit before I say that. Give credit to the dude who is spearheading the real talk about this movie, and that is Mark Bernardin from One Half of Fat Man Beyond. He's the first one outwardly and loudly to get on social media as somebody who has street credit in this world, not just like he was a showrunner of the Star Trek series with when they brought back the ball guy, you know. And
Layman's terms, he's a big old nerd. He is a powerful nerd, a creative nerd, and he has written and helped produce a lot of DC and Marvel
I mean, the He-Man
related
show. I
products.
mean, all
Like, he
kinds
knows
of.
what he's talking about.
But
Yeah.
anyways, he made the point that maybe we don't just, the quality of a movie isn't based on box office, and how long can we sustain that thinking that way and think that this business is going to continue to grow and expand in a healthy way, the way it should.
Yeah.
The point I was making last night about the box office was, you can't judge anybody's box office numbers if their stars didn't get to go on the Today Show, the Tonight Show,
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson, Jerry O'Connell hosting for Wendy, Daily Show.
Yeah.
Look at
There's been
everything.
almost zero promotion for this movie, and that's not on Marvel. I mean, I guess it really is
Oh, that was
on
the terms of the
leadership for
deal. Was
not
SAG though?
working with the strike, but due to the strike, almost every television and film hasn't been able to have any kind of promotion.
I mean, who the fuck,
because that
Terry, in
would
Middle
technically-
America, who the fuck even knew that this was coming out when they can't promote?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was going against them. But then also, you made a good point last night of like, the model has changed. Like, you'll release in theaters, but then you will put it available for streaming within what, a month of it being released in
2
theaters?
months. I mean, what? Blue
Yeah.
Beetle took like 2 months or whatever, and then
so people have just grown more accustomed to, I'll just wait till it's streaming at home. And then that's when you get the second rush of numbers and money and how much it's making now, because when it comes available on streaming, everyone's going to be watching it, or no one's going to be watching it.
Well, I mean, we're going to know either way. And the thing, is, I think a lot of people, I don't know, I feel like from a lot of folks I've talked to or I've seen, just normal people, not people in the industry, not critics, not anybody at all close to a set, are like, if I'm already paying out of pocket, like the money I'd pay for a movie ticket 8 different times over per month for these different channels that are supposed to supply everything, why leave my home entertainment system and then go, put the money down again and do it again?
Yeah.
It's got to be a huge event movie to get people like turn out for Indiana Jones, The Flash. I mean, there's some big, huge tentpole movies that nobody even batted an eye at this year.
Yeah. I mean, the year's almost over. I mean, it's very clear that Barbie was the only movie to achieve.
And Oppenheimer. And I think the only reason that worked is
not even really Oppenheimer. I mean, it had a big opening weekend, but it did not sustain.
It didn't do Barbie numbers?
It did not come close to Barbie numbers.
What about Mario?
It goes to show Barbie isn't available to stream for free yet. You still have to purchase it. So, like, it did so well at the box office. It's not in theaters right now that I know of.
No, it's not.
But it's also not available to stream. They're making you wait. So I predict that the award season Barbie is going to be nominated for a lot of hardware this year.
Yeah, Zaslav is really edging these Barbie fans right now.
It's changing. The movie biz is definitely changing.
And that's the thing, is the sooner the critics and the people who want to talk like they know shit about it just because they watch the movies, we got to change how we talk about movies, right? Like, you can't immediately go failure. I mean, come on, man. That Captain Marvel's will hit streaming probably right around Christmas time when all the little kids are at home. Come on.
And maybe some more female movie critics. That would be helpful too, to get another point of view, because I'm so tired. I'll walk through our living room and Sam has different nerd podcasts on in the background, and the other day there was one going and I just out loud said, I was like, you're not allowed to listen to him anymore. I don't like that.
I want to agree, since we're on the show, I want to agree with you and say John Campea of the John Campea Show does look like a child molester. So
It's like, why do we care what this old man says? This is a movie for young children and young women.
I just want to say 60-year-old John Campea with his mail order bride of the John Campea Show. He looks like I agree with you. He does look like a child rapist. So
I didn't
what's
say
next?
that. You can't agree with me because I didn't say that.
I mean, I'll just say this. 60-year-old John Campea, who had maybe running a little cult out of his own little home somewhere on the West Coast. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out he has sex against their will with children. John Campea of the John Campea Show.
No comment.
So okay, what's next? Is that it for?
I don't know. I mean, moving forward, we have nowhere to wedge in child predators, so I think that's a good thing.
No.
You're gonna have to get real creative.
How about this? Creepy old guys.
Well, in the remainder of our time together, there are a couple other non-movie related entertainment that we've been mildly obsessed with lately. And I think for one of these shows, America is kind of on board. They love it. And that would be the Golden Bachelor. We actually
not see that coming.
I had heard it was coming down the pike, like it had gotten delayed also due to COVID. And so, I mean, they announced this show, like, I want to say over a year, maybe even 2 years ago, but we never heard anything more about it. Never heard when they were filming, even when they announced who the Bachelor was, like that happened so fast. And then immediately the show came out, like within a couple
Do you
weeks.
think it's because like the first 3 or 4 bachelors, died of COVID? Because just old and just
they just kept having to go back,
recast and start over.
Well, Lord, I hope not. But anyway, this show premiered what? This show policed. This show premiered like about 6 weeks ago or so.
It moves fast.
I really didn't have to twist your arm much. I think you heard the premise and were really, because you're not a Bachelor watcher. You're not really familiar with the universe.
It's not for me, right? It's not for me, right? Like the guy.
Again, it's not really for you. But it was fun watching it with you because it still followed the basic formula of The Bachelor. And there is a formula, guys. This isn't, they say it's reality TV, but it is, The Bachelor is one of the most produced shows.
I mean, there's a house. There's like a bachelor cave. Like it's the same. When I found out it's the same house, even the real world would change up the house.
Yeah, same house. They rent it every year. The family that lives there, the remainder of the time, goes on vacation or whatever, and then moves right back in. So the way that this one is different is usually The Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's a bunch of singles in there.
Tara, if folks don't know how Bachelor works, if they don't know how it works at this point, we don't have time for them. We got to move ahead. So instead of a young sluts, it's old crazy whores.
Yeah.
So we have leveled up.
So first episode premiered. Our Bachelor is Gary.
Who don't know his name?
Gary Turner.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you were saying. His name was Gary, and I was about to catch myself on fire, run down the street like Richard Pryor. Then it was Jerry.
He's in his early 70s. He's a widower, and his wife died like very suddenly and in a tragic way of like illness that they didn't look healthy.
She didn't look like she's gonna live forever.
So somehow ABC got a hold of him and convinced him that this was a good idea. So episode 1, he meets 21 eligible senior ladies.
It was a lot.
And really great crop though. Like I enjoyed almost everybody on this show.
Tara, let me ask you this. Does every season, so these women, when they showed up, they come and they get out of the Escalade one at a time, and
it's a little moment.
But I'm saying, no. Do these women did a lot of bits through their entrances?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of very sticky. Is that normal?
That's normal because the producers, I assume, give them like tips of like, you really want to stand out. You really need to stand out and put yourself apart from the 20 other people here. He needs to remember who you are. And so that there's like a sliding scale of like desperate.
Yeah.
in like Sheham, like Willington.
Yeah, I think it's real life. I think it's real for men too.
And so when you skew more to the Desperate or Sheham side, it's it can get pretty wild with what they'll do on camera.
My favorite was the lady who gets on the Escalade and she's dressed like a really old lady, like extra old with like has a walker
Oh yeah,
and
that's one of our finalists actually.
is it?
She made it all the way to the end, I think.
Well, so then she takes the walker and she throws it and then she rips the stuff off and then it's another really old lady underneath it.
In the cocktail dress this time though.
Ugh.
So we have made it to almost the end, and it's streaming on Hulu. So if you're not caught up, you have time. But the most recent episode, they narrowed it down to the final two. And we were a little disappointed
by the crazy old horror pope, which is Kris Kardashian. And Jesse, what's his name? The
Palmer.
Jesse Palmer even had the message on his phone and made them videotape his phone.
What are you talking about? Context, bonfire context here. What are you
don't mention other radio shows on our show, please. Weirdos context. So they do the reunion and Jesse Palmer goes, "Hey, I've got a surprise for you hardworking young ladies." And everybody's like, "Oh."
It was specifically for Susan, right? Okay, so there was a lady on, her name was Susan. She had a very Kris Jenner-esque Kardashian haircut, short black. She was a huge character in the house.
The one who's like Dice's sister.
Yeah, she had like a real Italian New York style drawl, and throughout the whole series, like X, social media, kept comparing her to Kris Kardashian. So Sam is referring to the Women Tell All episode, which is the very recent episode where they get everyone together to kind of do reunion, bloopers. Certain ladies get to have one-on-one confrontations with the Bachelor. And apparently Kris Jenner is a fan of the show. And she called in on Jesse Palmer's private cell phone, I guess.
And had
instead of projecting it onto a screen for everyone to see, they had him stand like 40 feet away from these elderly women who probably can't see 5 feet in front of them.
He's literally doing this.
And held up a tiny cell phone with Kris Jenner on it.
Get back!
And they loved it, and we all loved it.
And that's totally normal to video call someone and have it shot from across the room with like perfect lighting and a tripod. But yeah, anyways, the point is they worship Kris Kardashian, but I guess the joke's kind of
who doesn't, honestly. Well, again, not for you. None of this is for you.
Hey, no, you said this one was for all of America. Look, I think I was really mad at this idea when I first heard about it because everybody knows my shtick and my stand-up. I thought it was going to be an old guy dating younger chicks. And I thought that I would have to radicalize, start some kind of movement, and Sam Town would be a thing much earlier than it's supposed to be in the timeline. But when I realized it was crazy old women, one of which is from Austin, brother.
Right, Kathy.
One of the craziest.
We called her Rhoda, though, because she reminded us of the old TV character Rhoda.
But looking back, it'd be like Rhoda.
She had a big mouth, bad attitude, and we loved her for it.
She got mad at another lady.
Yeah, she bullied Teresa, which was hilarious to see.
I like the Dice lady. Oh, can you explain to the Joan thing? I won't do it justice.
Oh, Joan. We loved Joan. Sam really that was one of his early picks, was Joan.
That was my Lynn bias, but she wasn't meant for this league.
I mean, nothing really from her up until she self-eliminated herself. Then it was all about her and we wanted to know more. But you could tell they had a great connection, and about halfway through the series.
You're bearing the lead here. She's also the best looking woman in the room, and we thought she was a PA that like walked in front of the camera.
And then halfway through, she comes to Gary.
Gary.
Jerry or Gary?
It's Gary. Come on.
I'll never remember.
Oh, you will.
Tells him that she is choosing to leave because her daughter was having a baby and was having like some postpartum issues. So actually good on her, good mom. That was the right move. But that's when I explained to you that, hey, they could be priming her to be the the Golden Bachelorette, which is the cadence of the show. They usually flip flop and pick from each different shows or whatever cast from the show previously. But yeah, he was real hung up on her. He had like a little breakdown,
Yeah,
cried,
he's had a couple
and even
puking
at the
breakdowns.
Women Tell All, like they had a chance for them to sit down and kind of clear the air, and he still looked very into her.
Joel!
Yeah. Okay, so the voice he's doing, we've been trying to match Gary's voice all season. I think he sounds like Warren Jeffs.
Hey, but
Like
to me as
stay sweet and obey.
here's the thing is, guys, if you're watching this, please let us know. Do you know what Warren Jeff sounds like? Why?
If you watched
Why would
any
you
of the
know?
recent documentaries and tapes, you know.
I was
It
like,
was a very
oh, well, Tara, I'm
specific.
gonna have to disagree. I feel like he sounds like a young Jeff Dahmer.
Um,
I think it's like it's Mitt Romney if he had stayed in Michigan.
okay, that makes sense. He's from Indiana, I believe, so it's kind of like Midwestern.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to tell. He's a handsome dude, though, especially for being in his early 70s. He's what we will see next is he's down to the final two, Teresa and Leslie.
Well,
They
what's he
made it
set
to
up? He
the
set up.
end.
He has set up a champion versus jobber match.
Yeah.
It's not right.
So they'll go on some sort of vacation destination, and he'll be able to do like an overnight date with both of them. And that's usually in the younger Bachelor Prime. That's when they usually hook up for the first time. It's like cameras aren't going to be around and there's no producers or anything. You literally are just the two of y'all. So we'll see. I mean, that's kind of gross, but everyone does it, I guess.
Yeah, but what I don't like is that, it's just a dynamic that he's built up. One lady is one of the younger ones in the group from the get-go, visibly younger.
She is the youngest.
She is the
And
youngest.
isn't that, since we were harping on how terrible men are, isn't that the way that even if you do a crop of women that they have to be over the age of, let's say, 55,
You're still gonna go 54 and a half.
Still gonna pick the youngest woman in the room.
And he set that girl up against like an elf person from Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Teresa, she was actually one of the first like one-on-one dates that was so hilarious, where they did the flash mob, like the old sock hop, whatever. What was it called? Johnny Rockets, where they're all singing and dancing to Don't Stop Believing. So she's been like a strong favorite since early. But then Leslie,
real quick about hang on, Teresa question. So the flash mob starts when Gary is listening to her story, and they're sitting at the booth, and they're like, "Hey, remember how black people couldn't vote? We were cool back then." No, I'm just kidding. They didn't say that. Okay, easy. You're guesting on my show today. Remember that.
I produced this whole show today.
You're right. You did. Hang on. Let me just get this point out because it's a real showbiz question. So he's listening to her story and the struggle she's gone through in her life and the ups and downs. And he grabs both of her hands at that table and goes, "Don't stop believing." Now, when he says that, a flash mob starts, a live band plays "Don't Stop Believing" with a live choir and like a Broadway.
There's no live band. You're remembering this.
So then they just played it with like 30 or 40 dancers. All right, and then they blasted this song, right? Because all the dancers are lip syncing the song. So here's what I'm asking: how did they know he was gonna say How did they know that was the '80s song? Were they gonna play that song no matter what he said? Or if he had been like, "I'm a cowboy, I'm wanted dead or alive," would they?
I think you are too you're trying to dig too deep into a very shallow puddle. It's very surface level. I don't think you should try to rack your brain for how did they make that happen.
I'm saying no, but I'm saying
100% sure. If you want the real answer, a producer wrote that for him and was like, "Hey, look, this whole theme is Don't Stop Believing. We've been playing it in the commercials, in the promos for weeks.
So you gotta work that in somewhere.
Don't Stop Believing at some point in this conversation, and we'll do the rest."
Ah. Because I just thought, man, that was so crazy. Gary said, "Don't stop believing," and that was the song that they were ready to flash him up to. What are the
Mhm.
odds?
You're not ready for this world, I guess. But anyway, so that's Teresa. She's been strong. He met her family. And it was all women that just look like her. So have fun with that, I guess. And then
Each one, by
Leslie,
the way, each one more turned on by him by the last one.
yeah,
He worked
he
his
could
way
have his
through.
pick of this whole family.
Literal
And then
sister
she's going
wives.
head to head with Leslie, who is the youngest contestant. I think she's in her late 50s. But she reminds me of Alanis Morissette. She's got finger tattoos and lots of rings on every hand and all kinds of like flowy, uh, hippy dippy looking style.
I mean, you
Uh,
gotta know,
and
right?
he wants to get it in. I can just see it on his face. Like he maybe likes Teresa for like a life companion for the rest of his life, but he's trying to bang Leslie. That's
Well,
all he's
I
really doing.
guess you ought to know.
Oh, are you frozen or just I
Uh,
can't believe he froze after that terrible,
No, I didn't.
terrible joke.
Tara, I didn't freeze. That was me. That was me the whole time.
But before we hop off
Can she
of,
hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I just keep muting you. I don't know
Joe!
what's going on. Before we hop out of Golden Bachelor world, what are your thoughts on Faith getting eliminated out of the top three?
Oh,
That
I
was
think
my
it was so
front runner.
Faith came off. I worked in radio for a long time, and I worked with a number of Faiths, and
Yeah.
it was like the
Because what
old
is her
school.
job?
Her job is her job is a thanks, mom. Her job is radio on air radio voice talent.
Mm-hmm.
You can think Delilah, you can think Loris Lowe. Just, I mean, if you've ever been in radio at all, you know, as soon as you like see her and you hear radio, you're like, oh, I completely get what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
She was very cool, dresses cool. I guess what is she, Wyoming? Like evening
No, so
radio?
she was, and I, it's funny that you mentioned the location because we actually had a conversation about how this decision was made, but she was in Washington State.
Okay.
He's in Indiana. Teresa's in New Jersey, and I think Leslie's in Minneapolis. And we came to that conclusion. I'm like, oh, this is old people because the decision was probably made due to distance.
Right. Yeah.
I really like her, but I'm too old to be
Yeah.
schlepping from Indiana to because she made it clear. She's like, my grandkids are here, my weird adult sons are here,
Right.
and I don't want to be far away from them.
She's like, we
She
have
said
to.
my horse
Also,
is buried here. She owns
her horse is
horses.
very there, and also
And
she
she was like,
celebrates.
my favorite horse is buried here. I can't leave. So I
She
think
also,
it came down for him, like, I'm not making that flight there's no direct flight from Indianapolis to Spokane. So sorry, honey.
yeah, something Rocktober joke, but it's gone now.
So Faith got dumped, but she may be in high contention with Joan to be the next
You think
bachelor.
so? Because they
I
did
think
bring her
so.
out at the reunion and everything, and
Yeah.
she looked better than most of them.
Yeah, she looked great.
I mean, some of you have to go like, "Hey," and then some are just mean. There are a few that are just fucking mean.
Yeah.
And then there was two black ladies. One was like very cool and like approachable and sweet, and the other one was came off like she might have been Virgil from WWE's mom.
She had a very like Grace Jones vibe that I
She
really
was
liked
very in
a
your
lot.
face. Like it
Yeah.
was very I was like, is she a contestant or is she like the sassy lady that runs the house?
She was a contestant.
No, I know, but I'm just. And then there was an Indian lady who straight up raised her hand and was like, "Gary, can you tell me what my name is?"
Yeah, she was another self-eliminator, like very early because she had like a
Self-eliminator.
family
I'm
emergency
gonna
or
go ahead and
whatever.
eliminate myself.
Yeah. Or she looked around and was like, I don't think so. Um,
By the way, remember
but
when
we'll see.
Dice, when the Dice ma'am, that's what I call her, Dice ma'am. It's pretty good. She argued almost to blows with a white lady about whether or not it was the meatballs or the guacamole making her just ruin the oxygen in the home.
Very gassy.
And she was like, "It's the avocado."
So if you would like to know more about all of this crazy stuff we've been talking about. Hulu, check out the Golden Bachelor. I think there's only 8 episodes. This Thursday we will see
Is
the
this it?
one-on-ones, and then I think there will be another episode the week after that's the finale.
So they stretch it into 2.
And then right after the finale, they usually do after the final rose, which is the live, like
The
they
whole
can
big
come for the
finish.
first time, they can be in public as a couple. And
Now,
could we
get to that point and find out that Jerry, and his pick aren't together?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Okay. Well, there's a reason to live, guys.
And it's also happened where you show up with the one you picked, but then tell her on live television, I wish I would have picked the other one.
Whoa,
And then the
for
other
real?
one walks out.
Yeah, but that was
And they
young
just
people. That was young
swap it
people.
up.
I don't think Gary's not that kind of guy.
I hope not. But anyway, America loves them. Everyone seems to love the show, except for women over the age of 55. My mom and your mom.
Yeah, no, women age
Don't give
eligible.
this show a
Women
shot. They
age
think it's
eligible.
easy and
Let's be real.
stupid.
Are pissed. Just there's a lot of TV shows I don't like just because they didn't call me.
Why would they call you for this?
No. I'm saying with our moms hating this show,
Uh-huh.
they're both age eligible. They're
Oh,
both in
they
the
were like,
bracket. So when
nobody asked me if I wanted to be
some
on
dude,
there.
playing some regular on Suits, I'm going, fuck Suits.
Oh, you. Anyway, do you want to use our last couple minutes to touch on Potomac, or do you want to save that for next time?
Yeah, we can run through Potomac real quick. Also, if you see this before Friday, the 17th, I'll be at with Mr. Nice Guys.
Mr. Nice Guy.
A very, very cool venue, a very, very cool spot. A little bit of everything at that place. They do a great Friday night show called Jokes and Tokes. There's some really funny people on there this week. I'll be on there, and it's going to be a great time. So come on out, Mr. Nice Guys. Also, I'm going to go ahead now and shamelessly say I'm on TikTok. It's at the Sam Slade. So if you do have any kind of written communication with me in any form, that is now ownership of the Chinese government. And I just think you should be aware. Go ahead, Terry, back to you with the Potomac.
I tried to keep him off TikTok. I knew it was going to be bad news. But he's on, so tread carefully. But television, we love it. We have our shows that we watch every week.
Love it.
And last Sunday, we got back one of our crown jewels, our favorites that we look forward to every year, and that's Real Housewives of Potomac.
My favorite.
It's Sam's favorite. It's one of my favorites, and it's been really good the last couple seasons. They're trying to figure out their cast. It's a huge cast this year. I hope they start like trimming the fat.
No, it's like mid-90s SNL, where it's just like, how many people?
There's so
time
many,
for all these people.
So many. So we're not going to get into too much because I can already tell we're 2 episodes in and they've barely scratched the surface over any of the drama that supposedly is about to come our way. So basically, everyone's back. They didn't get rid of anybody. We have Karen, Robin, Giselle.
But they added people.
Mia, Candace, Wendy.
Grand Am.
And then we have a new member, NECA, who Ashley's there. Ashley brought her into the fold. And then we still have weirdo Charisse like floating around the
hey,
the outer rim.
I thought Charisse was the most pathetic. And I want to apologize, Charisse, especially if she sees my TikTok breakdown later today on episode 2. Cookie Monster, dude.
Yeah. There's a lot of Muppets on this show.
No, but I want to apologize, Charisse, because Cookie Monster walks this planet. I'm sorry, Charisse.
So basically episode 1, we just catch up with everybody on where everybody's been. Giselle has a new younger man that is Bravo adjacent. He's a character. I don't watch the show, but apparently he's on Winter House.
What does that mean? Do we work at like a resort in like Aspen?
No, it's kind of like Real World, but it's a bunch of like either people from Bravo or like existing friendship groups from the Summer House crew, and they go to like Aspen for the winter and just live and party in a house together.
So do you think that Andy...
But it's all younger people. It's like people in their 20s and 30s.
Is this an organized relationship by Andy?
I would like to think so.
Giselle refused to bring a man in. Giselle
Yeah, I think that's
refused.
hilarious because it harkens back to like the early like MGM studio where they would like you sign a contract with them, you're their property, and they're like, it would be good for you to be seen with this person, and they start setting up lunches and
Well, I mean,
dates,
Giselle has
movie
never
premieres.
brought a man seriously onto this show. We've seen a couple pop in and out, the state senator, the fucking the
They're
original.
all duds.
But right, but the point is they none of them want to participate. None of them want to be on
Yeah, because they're
TV.
like professional men,
Well, I think one is being
or they have something to
investigated
hide
by the
already and they don't want
DOJ
it
on
on
his
camera.
church contributions, right?
What?
The super pastor still being investigated, I think, by the DOJ.
Oh, her ex-husband. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, you said they're all, I'm just saying some of them are fucking crooks. Anyways, that's what leads me to think Andy shoved this dude onto the show because Giselle cannot make it
We
work.
just need you to be with someone that we can control and that is also hot enough for you.
Yeah.
So he's younger. I don't think this is gonna last. I think this is like a couple episodes and we won't ever hear from him again. Robin is fresh off the allegations and the drama and the
Oh
fallout from
man.
last season.
Oh, it's a lot.
Juan is cheating like 100%. It
He got
seems like they
fired.
both don't care.
He
It
got
seems like there's
fired
some
from
sort
his
of
NCAA
arrangement.
coaching job.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like first here, bullet point one,
Uh,
Juan is obviously cheating. And both of them obviously have an arrangement and she doesn't seem to care. He literally is yelling at her, I don't care about people talking about me. But he did. Sam is correct. Her husband, Juan Dixon, former NBA player, was coaching at some
was Colgate
university
maybe?
around the Maryland and Coppin University or whatever.
Coppin State.
Um,
Well,
and
Coppin State basketball program.
was released very Joe Paterno style of
It was bad.
there were sexual abuse allegations that were being brought to him, and he, as the coach, was supposed to report them or do something, have the investigation going, and apparently that didn't happen. He says that he did everything that he could. It's currently a lawsuit, so we don't really know much about the details, but so they're dealing with a lawsuit and cheating allegations that are basically true, and everyone is judging her and wanting her to get mad. And
This could affect that whole thing could affect whether or not Juan is ever eligible to coach in the NCAA ever again.
absolutely, it should be. It should be. Okay, moving on. Ashley, she's got a brand new home. She's divorcing her troll of an ex-husband. We don't know. He's still paying for a lot.
It's like my brother and his ex-wife. Like they're never gonna tell you.
Yeah. So
I
not
think
much there yet.
Well, he bought the house, right?
She says she pays for it. Her name's on the deed, but I'm pretty sure he helped purchase that home. I think there was some kind of clause about your kids are going to be living here, so I need you to put in like a good portion of.
Hi, this is my friend Moni, Al Amoni.
Who else do you want to talk about? Is
I
anybody?
don't know.
Mia has lost all her money. They are no longer part of the joint chiropractic.
Yeah,
They had to move out of that like huge house into like an apartment. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the nationally known for its ethical, good standing joint chiropractic finally took a stand on Mia. And we're like, hey, acting like a slut on TV is one thing, but this, it's too far. What was she? She wasn't a chiropractor, was she?
No, she was head of like marketing.
Okay.
Remember, she would arrange the brochures on the table. That was her job. Karen, nothing.
No, I want to say so. Wendy, did we get to Wendy?
Not yet.
Okay, sorry.
We don't really need to get too much into Karen. We're waiting to see. She's still Grand Dame, holding on to that title.
She's kind of doing Godfather 2 right now. She's kind of taking a step back from the business. Everyone seems to be
kissing her ass a lot, which is great. I love that. Wendy, you were about to get into her. She's, I guess, given up on the one wick candle, and now we're doing a television show, or thinking that we're going to do a television show. She's trying to shop a talk show of hers that hasn't even been filmed yet. And it looks like they're going to film it in like an empty apartment somewhere in Maryland. And then try to shop it around to CNN and Lifetime, NBC, ABC.
What a talk show shot in just a random room. I'm
So
offended that
that's sad for
I'm
her.
offended that she thinks she has what it takes to be in the MSNBC daily lineup.
Hey, you'll eat your words next year when she's top talk show on
Oh,
morning
and when Joe
daytime.
Scarborough leaves Mika for Wendy.
Yeah. She gets added to the morning Joe lineup. Um, who else?
NECA.
Candace.
Oh, Candace is just kicking ass as usual, as Tony Stark would say.
Yeah, but I think the big drama this year is going to be this lawsuit that
Oh, Michael
Ashley's
Darby's suing
ex-husband.
her for slander. Good luck, dude. You were doing
Yeah, I think
all
that's
of
going
it.
to be a big deal, and I think they're going to fight a lot about it
Also, she's looking
because
for
Ashley seems to not care. Ashley's playing dumb or just dumb
she
and is acting like she had no idea that this lawsuit was happening, which is a lie.
I think it's her smartest move though, but as far as Candace goes, I know a big storyline will be her trying to figure out who's gonna open for her in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So
She did not want Quad.
Quad's done.
Was it Quad or who else? I forget who they said, but somebody from Married to Medicine, I think, or Atlanta.
Dr. Shay Shay,
Real Housewives of Atlanta, maybe. I don't know.
Dr. Zuzu.
But what are you gonna? She's looking for someone to open for her in Chicago. I kind of know where you're going with this.
No, that's
So
all I'm saying. That's all I'm just saying.
catch me on TikTok at the Sam Slade.
I was gonna name that restaurant that me and her husband, Candace's husband, Chris, were gonna open after you pass away, called Tara's. Well, I'm not saying we're not gonna name it Tara's, but we're just kind of considering all names now.
It's fine. I don't need a creepy restaurant named after my
A creepy restaurant.
dead persona. What are your thoughts on New Girl, NECA?
I wanted to not like her. I really wanted to not like her, but they send her in WWE terms as a real true baby face. They send her into the party. It's for all intents and purposes, it's a battle royale. Everybody's there. I mean, this is it. You got it face to face with everybody. And she came in very confident. She came in very positive, and it doesn't look like she's necessarily trying to start drama with anybody off the bat. But of course, other people have their axes to grind. But I just thought, man, this is about as Hulk Hogan fucking 85 entrance as you can get on the show, where she comes out as she's kind of the head of her household, and she's pretty badass at what she does, and she walks in and she's not hiding from anybody. She's not playing games with anybody. She's taking her vitamins. She's doing her push-ups.
All the necomaniacs out there.
We'll see.
Strong debut.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Strong so far. She seems like she can go toe to toe with anybody in this group. And I like that they don't all know her. I like that she's a transplant from somewhere else.
I think it might have been somewhere in Michigan or something.
I think LA, Michigan. I mean, she named like
Oh yeah,
five
she had
different
houses.
places
They had
that
houses
they
in
had
Florida.
property.
Yeah.
But basically, she enters the scene. We first meet her with her husband as they're walking the almost finished house that they just purchased in Potomac. And she's carrying around what I thought was a stuffed animal, but it ended up being a live dog because it was so like limp and dead looking. Her husband's a doctor. She's a lawyer. It seems like they're both from Nigeria. She moved when she was younger and said she lived in LA for a while, and now she's
Honestly, I don't know
US.
anything
They
about
just
her
got
other
married a year ago. She said no kids, lots of money. You're right. She seems like she is head of household, very much in charge of that whole operation. She knows Ashley somehow. We don't really get into that. And then she claims that she knows Wendy, but
Wendy said she didn't know.
she acted like she had no idea who she was. And then we ended the episode where they're setting up, I guess, this big fight between her and Wendy about some like Nigerian ancient tribal
putting
like
Nigerian
beef.
spells on each other's families.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see some Nigerian witchcraft spells being done this year.
Andy, when I thought you didn't have it left in you.
He's got it. So we're excited. So if you haven't started the new
It's
season,
called the
you're not-
Oso. What was it? The Usu?
Ooh, I don't want to comment on it because I'm not going to say it correctly. I'm sure we'll be speaking about it much more in the future. I think that they're going to be like, this is the main storyline. That and the lawsuit, I think, are the two.
Damn, you think Wendy's gonna go like thinner crazy like that movie?
Yes, absolutely. She feels threatened immediately.
Ah,
But anyway, so if you haven't gotten a chance, like we're only 2 episodes in, so catch up.
easy
It's on
catch up. It
Peacock
moves
TV.
quick.
Hmm?
It's an easy watch. It moves really quick.
Yeah, comes on Sundays. But that's basically it. I mean, I
I
don't
think
know
so.
if Sam wants to hang around and talk for a little bit, but I gotta hop off soon.
Let's wrap this up, and I'll see you at home later.
All right. I will see you at home. I'll see everybody else hopefully next
week.
week sometime. We'll figure
Sweet.
out. I'd like to try to come back more. Because we're gonna have the finale of the Golden Bachelor to discuss in the next
Huge.
couple weeks. We'll continue covering Potomac, and I'm sure there's gonna be lots of things coming our way that we can get on here and
Oh yeah,
chat.
remember you wanted to do that episode by episode Bass Reeves thing?
He's in the show. He couldn't even get past like the first 10 minutes. He was like, this is I'm not. So
Tasha, did I respect you?
mhm.
Oh, Yellowstone way up here, Sam Slade way
All of
up
a sudden the
here.
art flew out the window and it was like, no, I'm gonna watch John Campia instead.
No, he's a child molester, remember? Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No. What we turned on, I think, instead was Potomac.
Probably. Also, 90 Days has been pretty good. We might have to talk about that soon.
Spoilers, guys. There's a mom living in a closet of an efficiency apartment. That's all I want.
We're not even being jokey. Like, that is a fact. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
This was fun. Thanks for coming on.
See
What an epic
you
return.
later.
Weirdos at Home, guys. Do I turn this off?
I got you.